Alrighty, hello wonderful students. Let's see here. Today we're going to take a look at a little bit of a tougher thing. We're going to do a hammerhead, okay? So what I did is I went to the workshop, grabbed a hammer. It was a finish claw hammer. And unfortunately it doesn't seem to be coming up that well. Took some dimensions of it. Let's see if it gets there. Took some dimensions of the hammerhead. Yay, it showed up. Cool. Wrote them down, and we're going to be using these as our references. Now, in this video, you're going to learn some really cool stuff. You're going to learn loft, which is honestly one of my favorite tools in SolidWorks to use. You're also going to be able to make new planes using a reference geometry. So I'm sure we'll pull this picture up again, but let's take a look at it. The hammerhead itself, the face, obviously this is a circle right here, so it makes a cylinder 15 millimeters thick right there. And then all hammerheads, they kind of, come into a narrow area. Well, this narrow area, it kind of gets to its smallest point about 12 millimeters back, and it's about 18 millimeters in diameter, okay? And then another 12 millimeters back, it comes and it just blends right into this rectangle. Now, this right here is a line, obviously. I kind of put the rectangle right here. That rectangle is 30 by 24. And the loft is a really useful thing to blend it into there. That's a straight rectangle, straight back, just this size, for another 34 millimeters. Then after that, it kind of goes into a claw right about here. The point of the claw is from that rectangle, from the end of that rectangular solid that we're going to make, 50 millimeters back. And from the bottom edge, it's another 24 millimeters down. So we're going to put a point there. And then we're going to make these using splines, those lines right there using splines. So hopefully that gives you somewhat of an idea of what we're going to do. It's going to be a little bit of a longer one, a little bit of a tougher one, but it's also putting all your skills together, and you guys are getting better and better and better at SolidWorks. So let's go ahead, let's open up the program. We're going to be going to part. Oop, there we go. We're going to make a part. Boom, right there. Alright, so we got our basic SolidWorks all ready to go. We're going to start with a sketch. I'm going to go right plane, and I'm going to start with making that hammer head. So I'm just going to go into circle. Oh, I almost forgot. Go down here, document properties, units. I'm going to go to millimeters for units. Later on, I'm going to go back in here, and I'm going to show you guys how to turn on a grid because I like a grid. But let's just get this started. All right, so let's see here. We want our radius to be 15 if we want our hammerhead to be 30. So go ahead and do that. We have that made. Extrude boss base. We're going to go ahead and take it out. And according to my sketch, it is also 15 millimeters thick. So we have our head, we have our hammerhead already started. Now we want to make some planes for our lofting, okay? So you're going to go to reference geometry up here, and we're going to go to plane, all right? So we're going to make another plane. Think of a plane like a flat sheet of paper. All right, now it's coming up. It's going a little slow, but it's asking for references. You can put up to 3 references. We only need 1 reference for this one. This is the reference that we want, okay? Now this is going to come down. We're going to make the neck of the hammer. So it's going to come down, it's going to get smaller, but I measured from the hammer in the workshop that I used, which happens to be, it doesn't say even what kind it is. It's drop forged, okay? I believe it is 12 millimeters back. So we have our reference, that face, and it's asking, parallel, perpendicular, do you want it on an angle, whatever. Really the only thing we want is 12 millimeters back. So now we have another plane 12 millimeters back that we can go ahead and sketch on. And I'm going to make another plane even out here 12 millimeters back yet. and you'll see why in just a second. Yep, 12 millimeters back. We are good to go. Boom. All right, now we have a few planes. All right, it's going to go from big circle, and the computer is going to morph it into a little circle on this plane to a rectangle on this plane right here. So I'm going to go sketch, hit sketch, and it's really important to make sure that you are sketching on the correct plane. I've often done this and just sketch thinking I'm like sketching on the back plane, I'm on the front plane. You get the idea. So that's really important. I like being able to see my origin right there as well. So I'm going to make my circle, and it looks like this one here, this circle, is 18 millimeters in diameter, which means it's only 9 millimeters in radius. And we have our small circle on that plane right there. And then I'm going to go to plane 2. Oh, I better get out. This is to get out of the plane that I'm in, or sorry, the sketch that I'm in. My bad. So I hit that to get out of the sketch. You could have gone exit sketch up here. I'm going to do a new sketch. Make sure plane 2 is made. Okay? So I'm going to be sketching, hopefully, on plane 2. Down here, I want to go away from my corner rectangle, and I actually want my center rectangle. Alright, this is not, I don't think, I'm going to make my rectangle here real quick, because I think it's going to make it on the wrong plane. Yep, it did. I did something wrong there. So, I'm going to undo it, make sure I'm out of everything, and do a sketch, make sure I'm on plane 2. Yep, I don't know what I did, but I did something wrong. I was not sketching on the correct plane. Alright, center rectangle. Go ahead and make that center rectangle. Smart dimension it. It looks like the width of the rectangle is 24 millimeters. The height looks like it is 30 millimeters. So boom. Alright, so now we have 3 shapes, and now we actually want to loft between those shapes. Now, if I go to features, I can't get into loft because I'm still in a single sketch. So I'm going to hit that, get out of that sketch. Now, I can't find it. Boom. Lofted boss base, which means we're going to be lofting, we're going to be connecting different things, and we're going to be adding materials. Okay? Now it's asking what profiles. Okay, it already knows, I already guessed we're going to do this profile, which is absolutely true. We want that profile, and we're going to go into that profile right there. And I love how it's shown the preview. Make sure show preview is connected or checked. If it isn't, and then that one right there. And I just love how it just kind of slides. The computer itself will just go big circle, smooth to little circle, and then smooth right into our rectangle right there. Okay, so we are well on our way. Okay, so I'm going to do another sketch. I'm going to sketch on that guy right there. This time I'm going to do a corner rectangle from here down to there, and boom, feature, extrude boss base, pull it back this direction right here. Looks like the actual hammer is 34 millimeters right there. And we got, you know, the big chunk, the big block of our rectangle right there. So it's really starting to look like a hammerhead. Now these planes are here, obviously, they're here in your plans and everything right there. If you want to get rid of it, just hit the little eyeglasses. It says hide, and I'm right clicking to get to that. You can probably left click as well. But I'm just using that to get rid of my planes, get rid of what we can see there. I could always bring it up right here if I want to, and make it visible again. Alright? Now I'm going to look at it straight from the side. What we are going to do now is we're going to put a point down in this area right here, and that's what the claw is going to go to. Okay? This is something, this is an option that I like to use. You don't have to if you don't want to use it, but I really like using grid and snap, okay, and display grid. Of course, we often have a lot of snaps on, obviously, but we don't always display the grid. And okay, it's probably only going to display once I'm in a sketch. So now I'm going to do a sketch. I'm going to do a sketch on the side of my hammer here. I wish that was a little bit bigger, but that should be okay. I'm going to put a point, and the claw of the hammer, I'm guessing, goes about right about there. But let's get it just right. I did measure on the hammer, and from this line to that point is actually 50 millimeters back. And then from this line to that point, it was 24 millimeters down. So there's our point right here, and we have our point just in the right spot from there. Okay? Alright, so we got that point. Let's do some splining. So I'm going to go ahead and hit my spline tool, zoom in just a little bit. I'm going to go from here. Now this part you're going to have to guess. Like, I could have taken a whole lot more measurements on my hammer and figured out exactly where it should have been. But I'm just going to put in a quick little reference spline right there. It's close, but I don't like it. I'm going to pull this like that just a little bit. I think that's much closer to what the actual hammer actually looks like. I'm going to do another spline up here. I'm going from here, and I'm going to line it up right over this guy. Come down to there. And then hit escape. Okay, so it looks like we have our claw. I cannot make this 3D yet because I don't have an enclosed shape. All I have to do an enclosed shape is connect this point to that point. Now we have an enclosed shape. Alright, I'm going to go to features, extrude boss base. Alright, so it wants to do it, but it wants to make it in the wrong direction. So there's a few things going on here. One thing, I'm going to change the direction right here. Okay, so let's go on the other direction right there. Okay, now the other thing is the claw is actually wider. This rectangle here on top, the claw is actually wider than that rectangle. And when I measured it, it came off 4 millimeters on each side. So I'm going to do this, but I'm going to make this, instead of 34 millimeters, I'm just going to say, well, the original was 24 millimeters wide. This distance right here is 24, and so I'm going to make it 28 millimeters wide. And we can see it's hanging off 4 millimeters that way. I'm also going to check direction 2, and I'm going to make that 4 millimeters as well. So now if I take a look at my preview, I'm hanging off 4 millimeters on each side. So go ahead, hit that, and boom. It's looking good. No hammer has that right there, that little catch right there, but we're getting the idea. We're getting pretty close to what we want to be. Let's see here. It's gonna go. No, don't want that. There we go. Cool. All right, now I think I'm going to look at it straight from above again. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do a sketch right on above. All right, I was clicking here first. I could not click because that was really a curved surface, so I had to click right there on the top of the hammer. Nice flat area to be able to do it. Once again, we are going to use our spline tool because it doesn't go straight from here to there. It kind of comes and it angles out just like that. Hit escape to get rid of the Klingon. I'm going to move this up just a little tiny bit. Oh, looks like I can't. All right, so let's see, just for fun, let's see if we can do that. Okay, we got it at 4. Let's see if we can make it 3. Yep. So we could move it back that way. We could also take that point and do a smart dimension here to move it as well. Okay. I'm just going to mirror it to get it on that side right there. So to mirror it, I need something to mirror it over. I want to construction line, or center line, excuse me, because that won't mess with the 3D printing or anything. And no, I'm not getting, get rid of that. I'm not getting a, oh, now I got a midpoint popping up. So from there to there, okay. I might as well just put in my other solid lines right here. Make it enclosed, okay. Now I'm gonna go to mirror entities, and it's gonna say, hey, what do you want to mirror? I want to mirror this one, and that one, and that one, okay. What do we want to mirror it about? That right there. And we just took it and we flipped it on the other side. Now it's a little herky-jerky, but that's just because that's a preview. That's not the finished thing. Once we hit that, it looks much, much better, okay? So we have our sketch on our top view, how we want to go ahead and cut that. So let's go features, extrude cut. Yep, it shows exactly what we want to cut. It guessed absolutely perfectly. It's not going to be cutting all the way down though, so we want to go through all and boom. See what it looks like. Looks pretty good to me. So that sketch right there made the back pretty good. Okay. Let's go here. Boom. I think I'm out of the sketch. Really, all we have to do is make this little V-notch right here. So I'm going to do another sketch for that. Once again, I can't click here because it's a curved surface, but I can make a sketch on this surface right here. Okay. I feel like we're going to need another center line to do it well. So we got our center line. Let's make our visible lines, or our cut lines. And I'm just going to make half. And I'm going to mirror it once again. But first, before I mirror it, between this point and my center line point is 4 millimeters, because that little V-notch on the hammer is actually 8 millimeters wide. So we have this side, mirror entities. We want to mirror this guy and that guy. Mirror it around that right there. Click it. Go to features, extrude cut. Okay, make sure it's going the correct direction, and I want to go through everything. Alright, I totally did a mistake right here, okay? It's only from the claw to here, even looking down from above, it is only 22 millimeters. I made that way too big. So let's go into here. We're gonna edit our sketch, okay? Better look at it straight from above. So yeah, this point right here is in the wrong spot, and I've anchored right there. So I have to get rid of that little constraint right there. Now let's see if we can smart dimension it to that point. If we can't move it, I'm gonna have to redraw the whole thing. 22. Alright, it let me do it, okay? Looks a little bit short, but we're looking at it straight down from above. Boom. Exit my sketch. Now it'll rebuild the whole thing, and it should do the cutting as well, okay? Now that looks a little bit, that looks much more normal for a hammerhead. Okay. Alright, so what did we learn in this? We learned a few different things. We learned loft, how we went through there, okay? And let's see here, we learned how to make reference planes, reference geometry right there, okay? Now, if you want to, you could clean it up a little bit. You could do a few different things. You could put a little round on here, okay? You could put a little fillet right there. You could soften some of these edges right here by filleting them as well. You could, on a normal hammer, it does come down a little bit right here, so you could do that. And you could put the hole that the handle actually goes into. But I think this is a pretty good start, pretty good for an actual tool that someone out there has catted out, and it got forged and built and everything like that. Cool. All right. Hope you guys are having a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you.